How you doing, guys? This is BG Dino, and I am the Terradome Soldier. Welcome to my movie review and trailer show. Today's show is going to be on the movie TOXIC AVENGER. We're going to do the review. But first, let's watch this trailer. TOXIC Avenger. Some supposed to say Crusader, some supposed to say Avenger. Well, pretty much it takes place just like on the trailer. It shows him talking about it and say, wait a minute, and then it starts to rewind and it shows him as a regular person. Peter Dingler, he plays as the TOXIC Crusader as the normal form. So pretty much the story starts off, I will say this about the movie. I can't tell you line for line because it's not, the storyline is really all over the place. Most people are not going to see that because of the storyline, because you already know the storyline is straight up crazy. Now this movie, to me, it was more like a comedy. I would say a gore comedy, because it had a lot of funny things in it. Like for instance, it was one scene where he was, Peter Dingler was leaving out the door, his front door, and his neighbor, she was an older lady and she was being harassed by this real powerful company. We'll get to the company in a minute. But anyway, it was this real powerful company. They was threatening to take her building, and they was trying to threaten her to sign the deed. So the guy, he picked up her cat, and he's like, if you don't sign the deed, I'm going to keep your cat. And she said, okay, I'll sign your deed. He was like, I'll be back later. So he took her cat anyway. He walked over to the car, and he ended up sitting the cat down in the middle of the street. So, and pulled off. So Peter Dingler character, he like walked over, ran in the street, and he grabbed the cat. And this part right here was so hilarious. It was like someone else in the audience was watching the movie inside the movie. Because once he did it, it was like, this MF saved the dang cat. And the way they said it, it was funny. It was more like, that MF saved the cat. It was hilarious. So like I said, it was more like a comedy gore, because there was a lot of gore. They had a lot of nods to the original one. If you've never seen the original one, in fact, if you want to know something about this TOXIC Avenger, TOXIC Crusader guy, go back and watch my trailer review. I get more depth in detail of who this character actually is. Actually, the cartoon was one of my favorite cartoons growing up. I love that cartoon. It came out like maybe in the early, mid-90s. I know that seems ancient, but yeah. And I actually liked it. I used to watch it when I came home from school. I remember the song, TOXIC Crusader. Yeah, so like I said, if you guys want to know more about this character, I would say pause this right here and go look up my trailer review. I actually show the intro from the original one, and I show the intro for the cartoon. So like this movie right here, this one right here, the reboot, I say it more like links more into the cartoon version of it. This particular movie right here, certain things that happen. He's supposed to have been a regular guy who ended up getting caught up and accidentally falling inside some toxic waste. That's what the original story was. This particular story was, he worked for this particular company. It was some kind of pharmaceutical company that they made this miracle drug. And of course, anything you make like that got some kind of waste. And this guy, instead of him disposing of waste the way he's supposed to, toxic waste, he more like just has workers in there just hiding their places and putting it in the oceans. And in fact, when it first came on, it came more like in a cartoon form, and it showed a little bird just standing next to a river where the toxic waste is pouring in it. It was in a cartoon form. And it shows the bird go over there and drink it. And then he turns to like some kind of mutated bird. So it's funny because they showed this little puppet bird through the course of the movie. He didn't really have no robe. Besides, they had him there just for one joke, really. The fact that he turned to some kind of little mutant bird, and all the way at the end. I'll get to that part, but it was hilarious. So, like I said, he worked for the pharmaceutical company, Peter Dingler. I'm gonna call him that because I can't remember. His name was Melvin. I'm sorry. His character name was Melvin, but it's Peter Dingler as the regular person before he transforms. So he had a doctor appointment. He went to the doctor's office because he had pains in his head. He was trying to figure out what's wrong with him. And his doctor, this part was hilarious too, because every time the doctor went to explain what was going on with his sentence or his head, they had somebody outside the construction. Every time the doctor started talking, they'll let you hear the actual words of what the doctor's saying, but you already knew. The doctor told him, boy, you got 6 months to a year to live because your brain is got so many tumors in it and corroded from whatever. The doctor was like, well, you only got six months to a year to live. And then, Peter Dingler, Melvin, he was upset. He put his head on the desk. He was like, more like weeping. And doctor said, well, we have a miracle pill that can cure it. He said, well, why didn't you tell me that at first? You had me thinking I'm going to die. He was like, but I'm sure your insurance can cover it. So he went to the insurance company and tried to get the insurance company to cover his medical bill. So this part was hilarious too. It had some funny parts in it. It had a couple of little, I'm not sure if they meant to be funny, but it had me laughing. I was dying laughing. And some of the times I was laughing, I noticed everybody else wasn't laughing. So I don't know if maybe, it wasn't a lot of people in there because I saw the early streaming of it on Thursday actually. So it wasn't really a lot of people in there, just the way I like it sometimes. But anyway, he was on the phone with the insurance company, and the insurance company said, yeah, well, I see you have the platinum plan. But this medicine, it takes the gold plan. And he was like, well, platinum plan is bigger than the gold plan. They was like, no, you actually have to have the gold plan to get this particular medicine, not the platinum plan. He was like, but I pay more with the platinum plan. And see, it was stupid. It was making fun of how pharmaceutical companies, screw people over sometimes, I guess, It was a little nuts. They did this to the entire movie, little small little jokes like that. But, so anyway, they was like, no, he couldn't do it. So he's sitting all depressed, and then so he ended up going to the actual boss that owns the pharmaceutical company, Kevin Bacon. That his character, he was the person, the top villain, the person who actually owns the pharmaceutical company. So he catches Kevin Bacon at a restaurant. So he goes in the restaurant. Let me rewind a little bit. He was already he was like a stepfather to a child. The child mother had died, so he pretty much resumed all responsibility for the kid. But this kid was always like depressed. So he would do little things to make the kid laugh. Like he had a tutu on, and he was doing little flips and stuff to make the kid laugh. So that's why you probably see him, because the actual character, Toxic Crusader, he was a big, strong, old, mutated guy with a tutu on. So that was their way of having him get on in a tutu. And he was making jokes with his kid, with a tutu on. And then he ended up going to the restaurant because he happened to see the owner of the company, Kevin Bacon, going to a restaurant. So he sneaks into the restaurant and he goes and tells Kevin Bacon, he said, yeah, insurance company, I really need this medicine, I'm dying. The insurance company won't accept me, won't let me get my medicine or nothing like that. So Kevin Bacon, he said, oh, really? He was acting real concerned. Oh, really? It won't happen? He said, okay, I'm going to get my assistant to help me. My assistant can help you right now. So his assistant, she walked into this stairwell. She said, okay, yeah, go right through that door right there. Go right through that door right there, and I'll wait for you. So when he went out the door led outside, of course. So he was locked out the building. They just told him to get out of their face pretty much. And then he heard the guy, his boss, the owner of the company, saying, yeah, fire him, rehire him, then fire him again. Just to be mean. So Peter Dingler character, Melvin, he decides, he gets mad. He's like, well, I got to get this money some kind of way. So he always knew, because he was a janitor, so he always knew where they kept all the money at. So he ended up getting a mop and dipping it inside some of the toxic waste, using it as a weapon to convince the security guard to let him there with the money. So eventually, he gets in there, gets some of the money, bag of money, and as he was leaving out, it was someone else. It was a female. She was doing something towards the company because they had killed one of her friends, and from the medicines they have, it's supposed to do some kind of poison to people. It's supposed to help you out, but give you long-term effects. So she was just happened to be there, attacking the company at the same time. He was robbing them for money. So they was leaving out pretty much the same time. And the owner, he had this little, he had a brother, Elijah Woods. Elijah Woods, bro, in this movie right here, I ain't gonna lie to you. He was useless as a bull with tits in this movie. He really didn't have no vote. I mean, I was really disappointed in his character. I mean, he walked around, he looked like a penguin. his character really was useless. I mean, he had this little clan called Killer Nuts or something like that. They was like rock band group, and it was also assassins. So you may see in the trailer, you see these big strong guys. There was this one particular strong guy. He had like a chicken mask on, and you know I'm gonna get to that, but that part was funny too. He had this chicken mask on. He's a big strong guy. So they go over there and they try to kill the girl because the boss told me they saw everything on camera. They was like, kill the girl because she was gonna try and steal some information because she actually worked for him, but she was like a traitor. They call her a traitor because she was trying to get information, but she only worked there just so she can set them up eventually because, like I said, they destroyed her friend, made her friend brain dead or something like that. You know, they destroyed her pretty much for putting tumors in and all that. So they just happened to be in the same area. So she went to run over the fence, and Peter Dinklage, he went to run over the fence too, and he couldn't make it. So he just came back down, he saw the guys, and he said, hey guys, how y'all doing? And one of the guys just out of the door just shot him straight in the head, killed him. Well, he wasn't dead, he just shot him in the head. And they decided to get rid of all the evidence, so they picked him up and threw him in like a batch of toxic waste. They assumed that he was going to dissolve, and the mop was going to dissolve, and that is when you get toxic. That's right, Toxic is a bad one. This is where the movie makes a whole other turn. They have a lot of nards, like I said, it's more like, to me, it's more like the cartoon. So pretty much, once he was inside the toxic waste, you see him do the transformation. His body started getting distorted and getting like this right here. And he was just out of it, and he woke up, he was like sitting inside a junkyard with his old man. And his old man, he was like giving him encouragement, like you'll be okay. You look fine. You just look a little messed up, but you'll be okay. They always call him ugly. They go no hard. They're very hard with that. They're like, all right, kid, you just a little ugly, but your son will know who you are. Just tell him who you are. And the guy, he actually found the mop that was in there with him. Out of all things, he said the mop swummed up on a lake and he picked it up, so he gave it to Melvin, Peter Dinklage. That's his weapon, the mop. On the cartoon, the mop, I think it used to talk. You guys if you guys remember the cartoon, let me know. Did the mop talk? I know it for sure moved by itself on the cartoon, but I can't remember if it talked on the cartoon. I think it made like little sounds and stuff. So anyway, you know, when he was introduced to the guy in the junkyard and he was telling him all these things, you know, he was like, okay. And Peter Dinklage eventually went off to catch up with his kid and all that. And while he was doing certain things, he seen that guy harassing the old lady again about her signing the lease. This time he decided to stand up for her because, you know, he just like, hey, I'm going to help him out. So he went to the man, like, hey, leave her alone. So the guy, he ended up chasing him into an alley, and he shot Toxic, and Toxic just went down, and then the bullets that he shot started popping out of Toxic. Like, you know, he's bulletproof, I guess, now. More like Wolverine type thing. He had rejuvenation type powers. So the guy was like, what the world? So, and he's very strong. So Toxic ran over there, grabbed his arm, and pulled his whole arm off. And he landed on the ground bleeding. So the old lady, she goes to get the paper and tears it up. It really was hilarious. It really was. Like I said, some things, I'm not sure if they intentionally meant for it to be funny, but it was hilarious to me. Pretty much after that, he decided that he's going to try to, you know, help clean up this city from all these bullies and this big time company that's just taking everything away from people. So there was this one particular scene. This right here was a nod to the original one. On the original one, it was some gang of guys. You know, in the 80s, the dirty 80s, you could do anything. In this little one particular carry-out restaurant, when the original went in 1980, they had some rough stuff going on. Things most definitely would not fly in this day and time. But, you know, they did close as they could to it. So on the original one, the diner was called Mr. Burger, and now it's called Miss Burger. So the people that's in there, they taking hostages inside the restaurant, and they mad like a little gang. It was funny. So the reason why they was upset was because the place is no longer called Mr. Burger, it's called Miss Burger. So they were just crazy people. So Toxic decided he's going to come in there. He came in through the back, and you may have seen on the trailer when he threw the mop and it hit the guy in the mouth. He opened his mouth up. Yeah, that right there. And then he started just tearing He grabbed one guy by this. That's why I said it's gory, but it's funny. He grabbed one guy by his behind and pulled out everything, intestines and everything. It was gross. And it was funny because, you know, you didn't expect that to happen. So the guy, he shot with the mop and he opened his face up. All you can see is his tongue going around like what is the guy called? Venom, small Spider-Man. That's how he was looking. So he go out the door, and when he go out the door, all the police like freeze, and he's still like, ugh. So they shot him down, and then Toxic ended up going out the door, and they was about to shoot Toxic, and the people in the store was like, no, he's a hero. He saved us. And that's how he became a hero. They call him Toxic. So it goes through a lot of scenarios of, you know, different situations where he's helping, and of course, you know, it's gonna come down to him fighting that little gang, the little music group called I think they call it Killer Nuts or something like that, Clown Nuts or whatever it is, or some kind of nuts. That's the name of the little group. There's about 5 of them. The big strong guy with the chicken head and a couple other guys. They dressed up like clowns and stuff. So Toxic, he gets his revenge on them. He's fighting one of them. They go to run. They was performing on stage. I'm sorry. They were performing on stage when Toxic decided to go get them because, like I said, they was evil. They was just doing stuff to people all through the neighborhood. So he started off the little gang that was connected to the big boss before he got up there. So, you know, like a standard superhero movie. That's more like Deadpool. He go and destroy all of them. The big chicken one, he goes and runs. He was the only one guy away. But the female, she actually trapped him and got him, knocked him down. So Toxic was like, you're going to tell me where your boss is. And they kept making it sound like, and he was like, what? What was that? So then he heard the sound like, he was like, what was that? So they go to take the head off this chicken. I wish I could put the picture up because I can't find it. But the picture, so pretty much it was a big strong guy with a little small baby head. It was actually a baby head. He was a mutant or something. And they was like, oh, we can't hurt him. And he's like, can you tell? So he was trying to tell him where it was at. He just couldn't hear him through the mask. So he told him where it was at. And they didn't even kill him. And they just left him alone. That was funny. So, you know, Kevin Bacon, they end up catching up with Kevin Bacon. They go to a big fight scene. And, of course, Toxic wins. Just to fast forward the movie a little bit, you know. So, the movie, I'm going to give my thoughts on the movie.
Oh my God. Shit everywhere. There's shit everywhere! Damn it! There's shit on the windows! Oh my God! My house is full of shit! He's shit everywhere! Look what he did! He shit all over the wall! That is one big pile of shit.
That's because it really was. I mean, even though this is a childhood hero of mine, I loved it as a kid, but it should have stayed there where they left it at. So I'm going to give my rating. My rating is a 1.6 out of 5 Pterodon soldiers. 1.6 out of 5 Pterodon soldiers. And I'm only giving it 1.6 because it had Kevin Bacon in it, which is a legend, Elijah Woods in it, which is a legend, and Peter Dinklage, which is a legend. You know, even though they did, to me, to be honest, it seemed like they was just playing with the movie. They was just having fun with it. Nobody took it serious. Elijah Woods, bro, was just completely useless. I mean, he was just completely useless in the movie, for real. Even though, you know, he's a legend, so, but still, so I'm going to give it a 1.6. 1.6 Pterodon soldiers out of 5. So guys, that's it. I'm going to tell you this right here. Save your money. If you want to see it, wait till it come on Netflix or Tubi or one of them other streaming channels. I wouldn't go to the theater and see it. I'm just being honest with you. You know, BG gonna look out for you. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I will wait until it come on one of them streaming services. I will not spend my money to go over there. Unless you're just completely bored, you want something to do, then check it out. Other than that, you know, unless you like somebody that's like a real hardcore fan of Toxic, you might enjoy it a little bit more. I was a real hardcore fan, but I think they should have just left it in the 80s. I don't think they should have redid it. Especially, you know, it was just, things were just different. You know, if you can't go all the way with it, then don't do it. That's the way I see it. Time for my honorable mentions. Shout out to the Dante Show Network. Shout out to June 5th. Shout out to Miss Jersey. Subscribe to her channel. It's Forensic 8888. Subscribe to my buddy Ebook. Subscribe to my buddy Thug 2000. They all have YouTube channels. Give them a try. Thank you guys. This is BG Dino. I hope you enjoyed this review. You guys stay tuned because I'm going to do my Halloween Horror Night at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. I get the backstage passes. I'm going to try to go and show you guys as much as I can show you. I don't know. You know, most of the time it's probably going to let me show you the scare zones. So I'm going to do that. I got that coming up. And also stand by because I got the BG Dino, the Paragon Soldier, Horror of Dungeon of Horror for Halloween. I'm going to try to do a countdown to 30 movies. I'm going to try my best. But anyway, I'm most definitely going to do it. So you guys stay tuned for that. And also we got the movie coming up called The Longest Walk. That right there is going to be a blockbuster. I can't wait for that. I'm excited for that movie. You guys stay tuned for that review. I got a lot more reviews coming up and I got a lot of shorts. So like I said before guys, if you guys want to know something new coming out, just check out BG Dino Shorts. I try to list every movie that comes to me. I try to listen so you guys can at least be informed which way it come on. Usually I have the day one and give you all the information I have. So thank you guys. I appreciate all the support. If you guys like this video, can you please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you guys. I love you. And I appreciate everything. Thanks for all the support. It's BG Dino, Paragon Soldier. Salute. And see you the next video. Very soon.